the Irish and the Scottish and the Catholic Church make babies. Good families like the Irish. Just to give you an idea, between 1760 and 1960, the world population tripled. During the same time, the population of French Canadians, people who live mostly in Quebec but also throughout Canada, multiplied by 24.
Wow.
That gives you an idea. We're an aberration. We're an aberration. We shouldn't be here. We should all speak English. But the good French food, a good French culture survived because of the church. So that's why the church is so important. Like I said, when we became an English colony, the French elite went back to France. Who was left to hold the community, so the church. As a matter of fact, you'll see many churches in Montreal. You say, what's with the churches? Montreal was nicknamed the city of 100 steeple. When Mark Twain was here in the 1880s, he remarked, this is the first time I ever was in a city where you couldn't throw a brick without hitting a church window. That's how many churches we have. So, Catholic churches, but also Protestant, also Jewish synagogue, one of the oldest Jewish community in all North America. So anyway, this church, a landmark, has to be seen. Celine Dion got married here, Mario Lemieux, Pierre Elliott Trudeau, our former Prime Minister, got his funeral here. And who was here? Jimmy Carter, and he had to sit in the same pew as Fidel Castro. Ooh la la, what do you do when you have two guests that don't get along? Well, you put a Canadian in between. We put the Governor General, and that was it. Okay, anyway, it's really amazing. This is one of the oldest square, and you could, tell the whole city just by here. This is the French-Canadian Tower, the church across the street, the first bank in Canada, the Bank of Montreal. And I know some of you went to the Beaver Club last night. Well, just above the crest, if you have very good eyes, just above the crest you'll see a little rodent. It's not a rat, it's the beaver. Why do we adore the beaver? It's on our nickel. It's just that was the first way we made money here. Montreal was first a religious mission. That didn't work. What happened? We became a fur trading colony to make those tall hats. So, the Beaver, the Anglo-Saxon establishment with all the banks. We're going to go on the street with all the banks. That first red building, oh la la, the first skyscraper in Canada, 8 stories high. Yes, that red building, 1888. And just beside it, people ask me, is this a replica of the Empire State Building, the one at the corner? I say no. Okay. No, we make our own building. It's just same style, Art Deco, same period, 1920s. So we're redoing the square, Place d'Armes. The only thing that's remaining right now is Mr. de Maisonneuve, our founder, who's standing tall amidst winter. So I also stopped here to talk about the FAQ. Now, liquor. One way to get through winter. How come liquor is a state business here? Prohibition. Now, when Prohibition hit Canada from the States, remember, this is a Catholic country, and we said, you know what? Especially the Catholic women, the Catholic Protestant are not going to, the Protestant women are not going to tell us what to do. So we'll do our own thing. So the way to deal with Prohibition was to have the state take over the business. So if you want to have good wine and liquor, you have to go to the Société des Alcools du Québec. You can find regular wine, beer at the dépanneur, but this is the way. Why do I talk about this? Because that's where you'll find ice cider. Now you might know about ice wine. Well, right here in Quebec we have developed ice cider. It's actually a Frenchman who said, why do you try to keep have wine? It's too cold here. There is a place in the Eastern Township where there's the microclimate, but forget about the wine. Do ice cider. So, in a link with this, this is a church by the Sulpicians, who are actually the owners of Montreal, and just beside is their presbytery. But just to tell you, on top of Mont Royal, when the French came, what was one of the first thing they did is establish a cider, a pressoir assez, the cider machine on top. So just to tell you, to round it up, from the very start, the French here, we may have been in a colony, but they drank good Bordeaux wine, they made their own cider, and make sure that they had good meals. And when it's winter, you can understand why. So we may be in the colony, but we know how to live.